Hi, this is Sean, and in this lesson we're going to look at some chord substitutions. Some basic ones. I find, to be honest, the basic ones can be really effective and often people don't know them, so we're going to uncover what they are here. Let's start with a simple progression, 1-6-2-5. So in the key of C, chord number 1, C major, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A minor 7, 2, D minor 7, 5, G7. I'll use some inversions and other things. That's my most basic sort of 1-6-2-5. Now the first thing we're going to do with a 1-6-2-5 in a substitution is use 3 in place of 1. I've got a whole video on this. But 1 and 3, here's 1, here's 3. They're so similar that they play in place of each other. 3 can even extend 1 and make a longer chord, so you get a 9 on the top, that kind of thing. But that 1 and 3 relationship, really important in jazz. So the first thing you're going to do to 1-6-2-5 is to make it 3-6-2-5. E minor, A minor, D minor, G7. Okay, so now we've got 3-6-2-5 in place of 1-6-2-5. Let's see what we could do next. We could take the 6 and turn it into a dominant. This is a very, very common thing to do. So it becomes C major. I'm just going to take my 1 up to 2 to give myself a bit of a nicer voicing. I'm going to go to A7 instead of A minor. These things are obviously great for introductions, turnarounds, which are little links between sections, and at the end of the tune when you want to go back to the top for improv. You could mix and match these, so it could become E minor 7, A7, D minor 7 to G7. Forgive me if I reach for a voicing or something that's the next level. I try my best not to when I'm teaching. Occasionally they come out. Let's see what else. Well, something that's really powerful is if you take that 3-6-2-5 and make them all dominants. So you end up with E7, A7, D7, G7. And this brings us back to that area, what is a substitution? A substitution isn't just taking one chord and putting another in its place. Think of a substitution as two things. It could be a chord that plays in place of another because they have a relationship, like 1 and 3, C major and E minor, are so similar that they can play in place of each other. Or a substitution could also be a chord that just happens to take you to the next place just as well. So they don't actually relate to each other, but they both are directional to the next place. An example of that is when you go 3-6-2-5 all as dominants. E7, A7, D7, G7. There's no reason to put an E7 in place of an E minor or an A7 in place of A minor. It's all about where they're going. For those of you who already know about dominant chords, E7 leads to A, D7 leads to G. That's why these things work. And so does E minor to A minor, D minor to G7. So it's just another way of making that journey. A tune like Blue Moon uses loads of 1-6-2-5 again and again. 1, 6, 2, 5, and again. So in these sorts of cases, we can start to use things like our 1-6-2-5 substitutions. Let's say 1-6-2-5 as it is. 3-6-2-5. Let's have 1, 6 dominant, A7. E7, A7. D7. So your music spices up a lot. The other thing about using these 1-6-2-5 let's call them turnarounds or substitutions. Turnarounds, just short chord progressions that make joins in jazz, is we can create introductions from them really easily. So if somebody says to you, give me a 4-bar introduction, and you freeze and you don't know what to do, take 2 of these. So I'm going to take 1-6-2-5, and then I'll take the 3-6-2-5 all as dominants. Let's see. And then we're off, whatever the song is. You can also use them as turnarounds, as I said, joining material. So if you have a 1-6-2-5 written, it doesn't necessarily mean you play a 1-6-2-5. You might take any of these. So if I took a typical tune like Misty, I'll do it in C to keep it clear for everybody. Let's see where we could use one of these instead of a 1-6-2-5. Here's a 1-6-2-5 or 3-6-2-5. Let's make it 3-6. Let's take the one that's all dominants, because this is a 1-6-2-5 as well. E7, A7, D7. So in the end, you end up doing them spontaneously. And you can make a deal, even if there's a bass player, you make a deal between you. Sometimes you go in the same direction, sometimes not quite. And sometimes that doesn't actually matter, because let's say you play 3-6-2-5, but your bass player plays 1-6-2-5. Doesn't matter, it just becomes a C major 7 with a 9 on the top, so it really doesn't matter. Sometimes it will, but also depends how often you've played together, what kind of understanding you have. If it's something that's really out there, maybe you make an agreement on it beforehand, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. Getting 1-6-2-5 and its basic substitutions in different keys will really help you, and it'll also help you when you're listening to jazz to identify what you're hearing as well. So thanks a lot for watching. We have lots more like this on Jazz Skills for members. Hope it was helpful for you. See you on the next one. Bye.